What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for being here on my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff I love to talk about: movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, and right now I want to talk about The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 13. That's right, I just watched last night's episode of The Walking Dead, and it was Michonne's last episode. She has left the show. Denai Guerrera is now off the show. Now, I think she's going to be a part of the Rick Grimes movies. I'm pretty sure that she is going to be a part of that trilogy. And last I heard, that trilogy was supposed to be released in theaters. I'm not sure if that's still the case. This coronavirus is going to be putting a lot of things, up in the air, So, not sure exactly where they're going to be on that. But how was the episode as a whole? How was her last episode? I got to tell you, it was kind of boring, to be honest with you. There was some good stuff. There was a point in the movie where Virgil has her locked up, and she starts to have these flashbacks. Only they're like alternate reality flashbacks. So we get to see like what would have happened if Negan had found her. What would happen if she had ignored Andrea and ended up with Negan. And that was definitely the most interesting part of this episode. It was like a what if scenario in terms of what if Michonne ended up with Negan's group, ended up with the Saviors. They showed actually her killing Glenn when Rick and his team raided the outpost. They showed the scene where Negan kills Abraham and Glenn, and everybody's kneeled down on the ground. Only he says, "Let's let my homegirl Michonne do this," and we see Michonne actually bring Lucille down on one of the characters, and it ends up being herself. So that was kind of this interesting, almost meta moment. And then we actually see Daryl end up taking her out. Daryl kills her in this alternate reality. But so to me, that was the most interesting aspect of this episode. And then this episode kind of just ties up a lot of loose ends with Virgil. Her quest with him after they left Oceanside. It was kind of a storyline that, quite frankly, I wasn't that interested in. They haven't really touched on that. It's been months and months since we've touched on that storyline. And it not being part of the main narrative of The Walking Dead now, I just wasn't that interested in tying up these loose ends that Michonne was involved in. Probably the most interesting aspect of those loose ends, though, is the fact that she found proof that Rick is still alive. She found his boots. She found a cell phone that he had scratched drawings of Michonne and Judith onto, and it even had the name Rick on it. So she has proof now that he survived beyond the bridge. And she calls Judith, and her and Judith talk, and they actually make the decision that Michonne is going to go looking for Rick. And she says, "I'm going to travel north. Make sure you keep the radio on." And it's one of those things where, okay, keep the radio on. We're never going to see you again in the show, but we'll keep that radio on. I don't know. They need to crap or get off the pot as far as these movies are concerned. Because they announced these movies, probably 2 years ago? Time for something to happen with these movies. All right? Rick left in episode 4 of season 9. We're almost done with season 10, and we still haven't even seen so much as a trailer, so much as any production shots of the movie. All we got was a trailer that had a helicopter flying. It's time. We got to get more from these movies, because there's a lot of story threads now that are relying on being on the movies to wrap these up. We've got Rick's storyline. Now Michonne's storyline is converging on that, and we're seeing the exit of several characters to go participate in this storyline in these movies, and where are they? So we need to get more information on these movies. And you know what? I get that they're probably still a little ways off from coming out, but it's time to start sharing some information with the fans so we can stay interested in what's happening over here. Because I'll tell you what, it's been just a few months since Michonne left with Virgil from Oceanside, and I already didn't care. I didn't care about that storyline. Flat out didn't care. And quite frankly, I'm not going to miss Michonne. I'm not going to miss the character because she's hardly been present at all this season. You know, as far as I'm concerned, she was already gone. So I'm not going to miss her. So they're going to have a real challenge, I think, getting people to care about this other storyline. Yeah, it's got Rick, and now, yeah, it probably will have Michonne in it. But they've got to make sure that they make this storyline relevant, because right now nobody cares. I think people care about Rick. I think people care about Michonne. But I don't think anybody cares about this side storyline with these movies. So they got to start feeding us some more information so we can start caring. So yeah, as far as this episode 13, it was a very much a standalone episode from the main narrative of season 10 of The Walking Dead. You know, we didn't have any Alexandria. We didn't have any, you know, what's going on in the aftermath of Hilltop. We didn't get any whispers. You know, last episode kind of ended with this amazing moment with Negan delivering Carol Alpha's head. Nothing on that. So this was very much a standalone, separate story that kind of just wrapped up Michonne's storyline, but not really. It wrapped it up and then sent her off on this other storyline, which we might not ever even get to hear from because these movies may or may not actually ever happen. So as an episode, it was a throwaway episode for me. It was a throwaway episode that set up a movie that may not happen. So, I don't know. It's one of the weaker episodes of this season so far. This season, which has honestly been firing on all cylinders. This episode kind of brought it all to a halt. All the momentum that they had going into this Whisperer War kind of just grinded it all to a halt. So next episode, they need to get right back into the main narrative. You know, right back into Negan and Carol and Beta and what's going on with Team Alexandria as they're getting ready to face this huge threat in the Whispers. So that's my take on this episode of The Walking Dead. I didn't care for it, but what did you think of it? Did you like this send-off from Michonne? Did you think it was great? Or are you more along the lines of where I'm at, where it was kind of a wasted, throwaway episode? Not really filler. I wouldn't count it as a filler episode, but it was just a throwaway episode. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here at the LQ Review. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, I appreciate you joining me, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.